Did you see what happened to the US dollar in 2026 alone? 2025, 2026, something insane just happened and nobody's covering it. Okay, shout out to the channel Savvy Sabs where I first found this information. It's totally insane because the US dollar has lost its purchasing power in the last year by 30%. We're going to sit down. We're going to have our coffee, our tea. We're going to run these numbers together to see what this means for your lifestyle in America or for your lifestyle as an expat that is already abroad. Now, when I initially came across this video and this information from Savvy Sab showing the data, the analytics, the statistics, it just left me with this shocked, gut-wrenching feeling because if this happened just within the last year, your purchasing power, let's get a definition for purchasing power, how you are able to buy your groceries, how you're able to afford your mortgage payments, your rent, your day-to-day essentials, your US dollar purchasing power has lost 30%. Let's break this down in a way that makes sense. When you go out to the store, when you are paying your bills, your dollar was stronger just 2 to 3 years ago, but now it has declined, which makes me think, because remember, we were just talking about the Iran war, how Ukraine is now getting involved, how this war is now dealing with not only Iran, but Europe as well. They are trying to tag team it. Why is the West trying to do this? Why is President Donald Trump so interested in this war, if not also because the US dollar is failing and the only way to increase the dollar right now is wartime power, militarization, those stocks behind the scenes like Lockheed Martin who do well in war times. By the way, you should check out the Journey with Us written crash course to investing, because this is what we talk about, wartime economics, investing in uncertain times. Because ma'am, sir, do not invest in Bath and Body Works. Do not invest in Target. Do not invest in Walmart. Do not invest in retail stocks. You need to understand the infrastructure like semiconductors, gold, commodities, stuff that is actually going to be in demand in this economy while the dollar is steadily decreasing. Can we go back in history for a moment, just real quick? Get your kids, get the homeschoolers, get the schoolers that are already in school, because we need to go back to 1971 when this first actually started. See, President Richard Nixon suspended the convertibility of the US dollar into gold, effectively ending the Bretton Woods monetary system. Now, this was not a front page story at all. It brought panic for most of the families at that time. There were no empty supermarket shelves overnight, but there were dramatic bank runs that happened over the next few decades. 1971, that was the year that the dollar had officially become a fiat flat currency. From that point forward, the purchasing power of the dollar depended on monetary policy, economic productivity, inflation, and public confidence rather than a fixed gold exchange. Most people unfortunately never noticed because these changes did not arrive all at once. They arrived with a few percentage points at a time, but as the decades went on from 1971 to here we are in 2026, with the US purchasing power, the US dollar being depleted 30% in the last year, it shows that the dollar actually is decreasing. So while Germany, Spain, the United Kingdom, France all purchase in USD still, while you're in the United States, your dollar does not get you that nice house anymore. Your dollar gets you a little 3-bedroom shack that they listed at $1 million. It gets you a little 2-bedroom shack that they listed at $1.5 million in places like the DMV, in places like Florida, that's cost of living is increasing, in places like California. But in the South, of course, Alabama, Louisiana, you could get affordable living, but at what cost? Do you really want to live in Mississippi where they're doing all of the lynchings and hangings and all of this craziness? Like, the US is just not really the place to be right now. You are not imagining things. I want to reassure you that not too long ago, your grocery bill was $170. But these days, you're looking at $250 plus, $300, $400 for the same 11 items that you just used to get for $170. Leave a comment down below if you know what I'm talking about and can attest to this, whether you're in Connecticut, Maryland, DMV area, Florida, Virginia, or all the way out in Oregon, Nevada, and California. Since 2020 alone, when we had the pandemic, cumulative inflation has reduced the purchasing power of the US dollar again, that whopping 30%. I want you to think about this and sit on this. A basket of goods that used to cost $100 is now $130. Your savings account may show the same balance, which is deceiving you. Having that lack of knowledge, thinking the US dollar is still a thing, it's still great, everything's still wonderful, but your purchasing power has diminished. So it's not that the US dollar disappears. I mean, look at Greece, they still have their currency. Look at Egypt, they still have their currency, but these are fallen kingdoms that used to be the top heads of the world powers in their heyday. So the US dollar is not going to disappear, but you're just going to enter third world America. And for Americans considering life overseas, this shift matters more than you even realize. Moving abroad has always been about more than beaches or cheaper rent. It's about positioning yourself for the financial realities of a falling society like America, like Canada, like Britain, like Germany, like Spain and France. And the conversations start to move from where do I want to retire to where can I retire permanently and support the lifestyle that I planned based on the currency becoming devalued. Many of the families that we speak with are not fleeing America. They're responding to the mathematics like 1 + 2 has to equal 3. 3 - 1 has to equal 2. 6 × 4 has to be 24. And when the math is not mathing, you got to redraw the equation. You got to come up with a new formula. Maybe you need to move from algebra 1 to algebra 2 to trigonometry so that things can make some more sense in your finances. You know, it's so funny. We just spoke with a client that had already obtained their Mauritius retirement residency. Get this, 10 years, not 1, not 2, not 3, 10 years, somewhere that has a 60% lower cost of living, residency requirements, make $2,000 in passive income, put it in a Mauritian bank, wow, investing internationally, wow, access to Africa and Asia simultaneously. And they're like, hey, I'm back in South Africa right now, got my residency, sent the pictures over to my husband, like, yes, this worked phenomenally. Now I can travel anywhere I want in the world that has a 60% lower cost of living. I mean, this is how you do geo arbitrage. This is how we are talking about this and why we speak about this on this channel, because at the end of the day, the way Deuteronomy says, borrower is a slave to the lender. Like if you are in extreme amounts of debt and you have this cost of living that's only supported by debt, well, my friend, unfortunately, the scripture says that you are a slave to the lender, but I don't think you should be a slave. I think the shackles should be broken, and I think knowledge is the way to do that. Financial knowledge is the way to do that. You need to understand that if you have a lower cost of living between South Africa and Mauritius, South Africa and Tanzania, South Africa and Ghana, or Mauritius and Thailand, or Thailand and Rwanda, then you have a strategy that's going to give you longevity and enable you to pass down wealth to your children. Geopolitical wealth to your children, currency wealth to your children, an inheritance that's not just in the decimating American society any longer. With the dollar losing 30% of its purchasing power, there is another trend that I want you to pay attention to, even in the age of WW3 scenarios where Iran is fighting Israel, Ukraine is fighting Iran, unfortunately, so crazy. Europe is getting pulled in, like, it's just going to be a crazy time, but there's opportunity ahead as well. Governments around the world are competing for skilled professionals, retirees, entrepreneurs, digital nomads, remote workers. They are giving us innovative permits, long-term residency pathways. Countries are increasingly realizing that attracting experienced residents, mostly from America, because they even do this in Europe, as an American, you are not at a default because of who you are. The society is decaying, yes, but your experience that you spent those 10 to 15 years in corporate America dealing with the microaggressions and the racism, well, they're paying top dollar in other nations. They're paying top dollar for you to come in. Even in AI consulting firms, they're paying top dollar in these technology companies for your experience, and they don't care if you're in Panama, Belize, Mexico, Sri Lanka, Mauritius. How do I know? Because I'm doing the work. I'm doing it through my business, through my retention marketing firm, coming in and consulting with product management companies, bringing products to market in technology, in finance, in AI. And I'm so thankful that for the state of the diaspora, that's taking place July 30th. I mean, if you're hearing this, you may be too late. I'm sorry, because we're just about sold out. I don't even know by the time you're seeing this if it's even available. Maybe you could come on to the next one. But I'm going to be breaking these rare opportunities down because I have access now to these technology opportunities in AI and consulting, HR, healthcare, people who have PhDs, people who are HR managers, people who are in technology, even people who are multilingual and bilingual. Well, they're matching you guys with business opportunities. Now, here's the disclaimer. You have to come in thinking as an entrepreneur. And if you do not have that mindset yet, you don't have the accountability yet, you don't know how to think like a business owner, like the secret CEO next door, who's competing for contracts, winning contracts, negotiating contracts, then you may want to understand how to do that, okay? Preparation doesn't require predicting every economic headline. No one consistently forecasts inflation, exchange rates, central bank decisions, or even geopolitical events with 100% accuracy. Instead, preparation represents flexibility, having multi-residence permits, being in different jurisdictions and different demographics so you can understand how to leverage all of them, and also give back to the society, employ people, deploy your investments, capital allocation, diversifying where appropriate, and researching taxation. Thinking globally matters rather than assuming today's financial environment will remain unchanged for the next 20 years. For us expats, retirees, and investors, and global-minded families, purchasing power is not just a statistic. It's whether groceries fit comfortably within our monthly budgets, whether healthcare remains affordable, which it is absolutely not in America, whether you can help your grandchildren to grow up and invest in them, and whether your savings provides choices instead of limitations. Now, the dollar remains the world reserve currency right now. It continues to play a critical central role in global and international finance, but even a globally important currency can lose domestic purchasing power over time through cumulative inflation. These two ideas can exist simultaneously. Understanding that distinction is what truly matters in these times and is going to help you make better financial decisions rather than emotional decisions. P.S. The best time to build financial readiness is before you are in a dire circumstance when you need it. Understand, geo arbitrage is the play. The US dollar is going to continue to shrink. It's going to continue to decline. You can expect an economic downturn that looks worse than 2008. But if you live outside of America, making USD in a location like Mauritius, where you can actually get 60% better cost of living, lower cost of living, or South Africa or Kenya, then you're not on the losing side. You still get to leverage that dollar before it completely bottoms out. Shalom, shalom. I'll see you in the next video.